Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today we're going to be talking about the stamina variant rule from the Game Mastery Guide. It's a fun variant rule that changes up how health and healing works in 2nd edition, and it can greatly reduce how necessary healing is as a whole. While it still isn't perfect for every group or campaign, it might be perfect for yours, so let's get into it. Alright, so stamina ultimately isn't that complicated. Rather than getting a certain amount of hit points from your class every level, you get a bit of health and a bit of stamina. To use rogues as an example, rather than getting hit points equal to 8 plus your constitution modifier every level, rogues get 4 hit points per level and 4 plus their con modifier stamina points per level. So you can take the same total amount of damage, as in your total health pool is the same, but it's split up into 2 separate resource pools, of which the stamina pool is going to end up being the larger one. Now, whenever you take damage, you lose your stamina first, and only once all of your stamina runs out do you actually start losing hit points. Whenever an attack just does damage to your stamina, that means that you didn't actually get hit in world. If a sword hits you for 10 points of damage and it all goes to your stamina, that means that you just barely managed to dodge out of the way of the sword, you get like a nick on your cheek. It still tires you out, but you didn't just get stabbed in the side. It's a small change to how you describe things, but it does explain how on earth a high-level wizard can take massive amounts of damage, since barely dodging makes way more sense than an elderly man getting bitten by a T-Rex and surviving. Also, healing from stamina makes a little bit more sense, because you don't get stabbed 3 times, then have a band-aid be put on it, then you're good. You just dodged everything, and then you eventually recover. Rules as written, there are only a couple of ways to recover your stamina, so let's go over them. Effects that restore hit points don't work on stamina, rules as written, ever, and we're going to be getting into the impacts of that later. But restoring the stamina revolves around resolve points, which are new to this variant rule, and you have a number of them equal to your key ability score modifier every single day. You can spend 10 minutes and a resolve point to immediately regain all of your stamina points. You can also try and give someone else a pep talk to help them heal, and then they use one of their stamina points to heal. On top of these 2 options that are available to every PC, there are 2 feats that you can take that can help heal stamina. First is a diplomacy feat that is basically just battle medicine, except it works at range and it heals stamina instead of hit points. The other option is a general feat that allows for you to heal half of your entire stamina as a single action using up a resolve point. While that isn't very efficient when compared to healing stamina outside of combat, it's very, very good in combat healing that can heal a ridiculous amount of health. And that's all the rules surrounding stamina. It's not that complex, really, but it has a big impact on how your campaign will feel. The most universal impact is that literally every character now has a limited daily resource in resolve points. Since you need to use resolve to heal stamina in literally any way, and stamina makes over half of your health, you're in a really bad spot if you run out of resolve points for the day and then get into a fight or multiple fights. Normally, martial characters can keep on adventuring all day long, so long as they have healing, while spellcasters are much more limited as they have spell slots. But if you're using stamina, everybody has a ticking clock for how long they can keep on adventuring safely. If you enjoy having campaigns where people can't safely get into 10 life or death fights in a day without any repercussions, stamina is a great way to do it. Now, another impact of stamina is how it makes having a healer in the party a lot less essential. Everyone has a way to heal about 60% of their own health in just 10 minutes, which makes someone with continuing recovery in War Medic way less mandatory, and you don't have to wait for like a paladin to lay on hands everyone back up from low health anymore. Since basically every spell and feat in the game only heals hit points and not stamina, and hit points only make up about 40% of each piece's health total, it's way less efficient to be a healer than it is in normal 2e. While healing is still very important, since, it's hit points and not stamina that determine if you're bleeding out or not, using stamina is a good way to help out a party where nobody wants to devote parts of their character to healing. If nobody wants to be a healer, just use a variant rule that makes healers non-mandatory. But then that raises the question, what do you do if someone in your party actually wants to play a healer or someone who just has good healing available to them? Well, that's a little bit complicated. Since rules as written, stamina just does make healers dramatically less useful. So if someone wants to play a healer, but the rest of the table wants to use stamina, that kind of sucks for the healer. Personally, if I was GMing, I'd work with the player who wants to have healing be a core part of their character to come up with some way for them to be able to heal stamina based on how their character already heals. Just as an example, if they were a Churgeon alchemist, I would just let them make elixirs of stamina, which are just elixirs of life that heal stamina instead of hit points. I don't think that that's that hard to implement, and there are lots of ways that you can homebrew this for basically every way of healing in the game. Ultimately, like most variant rules in 2E, how much you're going to like stamina depends a lot on your individual table and your way of playing. If someone at your table loves playing a healer, then stamina might not be for you or your table. If nobody at the table, though, wants to give up their skills to grab medicine, then I'd really recommend you at least give it a shot. I can say with confidence that it is a working system, since it's the same system that Starfinder uses for tracking health, and it works just fine there. If you think that it'd work at your table, give it a shot. Who knows? You might love it. Thanks for watching. Stamina has been a rule set that I've been interested in for a while now, since I'd actually love to give it a shot in a campaign at some point. I really loved the system whenever I played Starfinder, so I'm curious about how it would work in Pathfinder. Have any of you peeps used it? Let me know in a comment down below, and while you're down there, I guess subscribe or something. Regardless, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.